Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Essence of the Bodhisattva Path. And this is a live premiere of a special video teaching with Guru Vajradhara, His Holiness Tai Situ Rinpoche. My name is Christine Foster, and I'm on the events team here at Tergar International. And once again, we have a lot of people joining us today, with about 8,000 people registered this time. And thanks to all of our wonderful translators, we're able to offer this event in 9 languages. And we would like to quick thank those of you who are joining us in YouTube in English. This helps to make space for those needing translation in the Zoom webinar. And before we go any further, we have one slide with a couple of Zoom reminders. And so if you're joining us on the Zoom webinar, you will see the chat box. So please do use this during the designated times to connect with fellow attendees. The chat will be open during the opening and closing of the event, and you have the option to chat to only all panelists or all panelists and attendees together. And if you're joining us in YouTube, then you will see that that live chat is available throughout the event. And in addition to the chat, in Zoom, there is the Q&A box. And there will not be time for practice questions today, but please do use that Q&A box for any technical questions. And once again, if you're in YouTube, please use the live chat for those technical questions. And now we have just a couple of poll questions to help us get to know one another better. If you're joining us on Zoom, we would like to know, what language are you listening in today? So if you're in Zoom, please choose your language, and we can continue to improve this option in the future with those numbers. And then once again, if you're on YouTube, thank you for joining us in English. Okay, looks great. So we have about 49% in Chinese, 14% Spanish, 10% French, 4% German, 7% Portuguese, 5% of you are listening in Russian, 3% is, I believe, Japanese, and 2% in Vietnamese. So thank you for joining us through that interpretation option. And then we have one more poll for you today. We would like to know, what is your main connection to Tergar? So if you're in Zoom, please select Joy of Living, Path of Liberation, or are you new to Tergar? And if you're watching in YouTube, please feel free to share your connection in the live chat. And I see those results coming in right now. And please do answer that if possible. It helps us to know who is attending our events. Okay, great. So it looks like about 48% of you are participating in the Joy of Living, 28% in the Path of Liberation, and about 24% of you are new to Tergar. So welcome if you're new, and we're happy to have you join us, however it is that you are connecting to Tergar. And now that we know each other a little bit better, we are ready to get started. So now I would like to welcome Tergar Executive Director and Instructor, Dr. Cortland Dahl, to say a few words about today's event. Hi, Cortland.
Hi, thank you so much. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you around the world. It is a tremendous honor to be able to introduce Chanting Tai Situ Rinpoche, to say his full title, Guru Vajradhara, His Holiness the 12th Chamgon Chanting Tai Situ Rinpoche. And this is an opportunity to learn from a true meditation master. His Holiness is one of the great living masters of the Tibetan tradition. And when you hear about his life, he's one of these rare individuals who seems like he's almost lived 10 different lifetimes in a single body. He is an accomplished poet, an accomplished author. He is a calligrapher. He has overseen the training of countless monks and nuns and lay practitioners. He has trained some of the great living masters of the Tibetan tradition, including the 17th Karmapa. And he oversees a network of more than 1,000 monasteries, meditation centers, and groups around the world. So he has just a tremendous force for good in the world and has touched the lives of millions and millions of people around the world. He was born in Tibet in 1954. And when he was very young, I believe around 5 years old, he left Tibet, like so many Tibetans did at that time, following His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and made his way to Bhutan and eventually to India, where he was trained by the 16th Karmapa, one of the towering figures and great meditation masters of the 20th century. He was one of the heart sons, the most important students and lineage heirs of the 16th Karmapa, and really was like a son to him, was kind of grew up at his feet, being personally trained by this amazing master. And as I mentioned a few moments ago, he then had the opportunity, after the passing of the 16th Karmapa, to play a pivotal role in recognizing the 17th Karmapa, the reincarnation of the line of Karmapas, not only helping to recognize the 17th Karmapa, but has overseen his training and is one of the living teachers and gurus of the current Karmapa. So he is a master of masters, a teacher of teachers, and has done so much to keep this precious ancient lineage of the Karma Kagyu lineage of Tibetan Buddhism alive in this present world, to safeguard these teachings, to transmit them around the world, and not only to safeguard the more textual side of the lineage, but the essence of the lineage, which is the experience. He is a realized meditation master. He holds this experiential lineage and embodies this realization that we are going to be able to connect with today. So we're going to hear from him about the Bodhisattva path and compassion. And he is an individual who personifies the Bodhisattva ideal and who personifies compassion. So we are all tremendously fortunate to be able to connect, as we will in a few moments, with this great master. And again, it's a great honor and privilege to welcome you all today and to share this experience with you all. So before we get started here, I would like to now turn it over to another great living meditation master and one of the heart students of Chanting Tai Situ Rinpoche, Mingyur Rinpoche, who is going to lead us in some opening prayers with the support of Tergar facilitator Anya Adair. So welcome, Rinpoche, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for that, and Tashi Delay to everyone. And I'm very honored to lead beginning and closing chanting this time. And soon we will receive teaching from Guru Vajradhara, Tai Situ Rinpoche. So Guru Vajradhara is one of the most important guru of mine. And just now, Colin mentioned about Rinpoche. Rinpoche is in one person, like 10 different or 100 different knowledge and wisdoms in one body. So, for example, sometimes me and Rinpoche have some discussion, and I sometimes interested in science, interested in the world map and the medicine. Sometimes discussion about that, and Rinpoche talks about the expert about particular that field, even though Rinpoche didn't go to the normal school to learn all these things. And every time when I have discussion with Rinpoche, I always amazed how he know that, how he can learn that. There's no enough time to know all about this. And the most important is the Rinpoche is the living enlightened master right now in this time, special for the Mahamudra lineage. So in the Mahamudra lineage, what we call the in Tibetan, what we call Tokpa Donjijuba, the realized lineage of continued realization. So that realization lineage is unbroken. So that sometimes what we call golden rosary mala. So unbroken lineage. So Rinpoche is a great holding the lineage holder of the Mahamudra. And I remember that actually I received one of the first empowerment from Rinpoche when I was around 4 years old. So me, my mom, my grandfather, we went pilgrimage, and then we went to Rinpoche's monastery, Shirabling. And then Rinpoche is really kind. I feel like, oh, look like I know this being from many lifetimes. Feels like very close connection. And I feel Rinpoche's compassion. And then my grandfather asked Rinpoche to give us our family empowerment. So I received one of the first empowerment from Rinpoche. So now, although many of you connected with the Tergar and receive a lot of teachings from me, but receiving the real great realized master Rinpoche is a great blessing. Even though you hear many hundreds words from me, but just one word from Rinpoche is great blessing. So I hope today is very important and fortunate for all of us. And so soon you will receive the teaching. So now I will do the chanting in Tibetan for the beginning chanting. Oi sanje chudam soje chonam la changcho baradu dane yabzo dage jenzo yebe sonanji dolai benjer sanje robarai shu sanje chudam soje chonam la changcho barado dane yabzo dage jenzo yebe sonanje dolai benjer sanje robarai shu.
In the Buddha, Dharma, and Supreme Assembly, I take refuge until enlightenment is achieved. May the merit of my generosity and other virtuous deeds lead to Buddhahood for the welfare of all beings.
Dewa damba dang mendala vare jurji nyere chadan nidang tanyamai chembo la ne vare jurji semche dam je dewa dang devi judan dembare jurji dumala dang je judan chalvare jurji dumala mebe dewa damba dang mendala vare jurji nyere chadan nidang tanyamai chembo la ne vare jurji.
May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. May they be free from suffering and its causes. May they never be parted from sublime bliss, free from suffering. May they dwell in great equanimity, free from attachment and aversion to those near and far.
Doje janjan de lo narodam marva melai chuje kambo de som shija gwenje karamabo 제제 정제 반전나 제다 저좀 발라데 로바조 사블람 차자제라 아니 냠멘 조근 다보 가이줄라 설완 데조 가이줄라마 예반전나 남다 진지로 샹로 검지 강바라 송바 센노로 권라이 자시 매바당 센데레 드다이즈 검제 예고로이 셴바 매바 진지로 매그 검지응고로 송바 맹아데르고 인제베 라마라 옌도 솔와인데 검제라 쩨메네 매그 제와 진지로 예매 검지의 송바 강샤라 도베옹고 소마데 마제데 가라이조 베검제라 검자로단 달월 진기로 남동오의 주고로 송바신 제양아마이 저양 자라와라 망가를 바라 인저베 검제라 그런데 열매도바 진기로 예와 근도야나라마 달메 주제발라 론주징 사단람지엔데라 언존네 돌제 장경공방여로도
Great Vajradhara, Tilu, Naru, Mapa, Milla, Lord of Dharma Gampopa, knower of the 3 times, omniscient Karmapa, holders of the 4 great and 8 minor lineages, Drikung, Talung, Tselpa, glorious Drukpa, and so on, masters of the profound path of Mahamudra, peerless protectors of beings, the Dagpo Kaju. I pray to you, Kaju Gurus, I hold your lineage. Grant your blessings that I may follow your example. Revulsion is the foot of meditation as is taught. Please bless this meditator who cuts all ties to this life, who is not obsessed with food and wealth. May I be unattached to praise and gain. Devotion is the head of meditation as is taught. Please bless this meditator who always prays to the Guru who reveals the treasury of key instructions. May genuine devotion be born in me. Non-distraction is the main practice of meditation as is taught. Please bless this meditator who rests directly without fabrication in the fresh essence of whatever thoughts arise. May my meditation be free from conceptual mind. The essence of thought is Dharmakaya as is taught. It is nothing at all, yet can manifest as anything. Please bless this meditator who manifests in unimpeded display. May I realize the inseparability of samsara and nirvana. In all lives, may I not be parted from my true Guru, forever enjoying the richness of Dharma, perfecting the qualities of the paths and levels. May I swiftly attain the state of Vajradhara.
Sa Nide Jamba Sanje Yendo Megde Purwai Nanda Shinla Jubarai.
Sprinkling the earth with perfume and strewing it with flowers, adorning it with Mount Meru, the 4 continents, the sun and moon. I imagine this as a Buddha realm and offer it, so all beings may enjoy this pure realm.
Namje Sambadam Loye Chara Chidao Chejon Temon Tebai Chejeong Korolo Korudu So.
In harmony with the different wishes and mindsets of sentient beings, please turn the wheel of Dharma of the common, great, and lesser vehicles.
다자 키 덤바 냠메 투베왕비 샵제들 timame 발라 고베 랍드드데 고스음 그바쳔비 찬처신 잡순 치오 다자 키 빨든 람마 리다 징쿠르잔츠 잡다 가든 송밤메 베터쳔본 초게 샵제들 timame 발라 고베 랍드드데 고스음 그바쳔비 찬처신 잡순 치오 다도 심지에 탐지지 주 진지엘라벌 제도 솔 빨든 자벨라마 림보체 다게 지오르베메 데줄라 가든 침부고네 지존데 고승 투지 무줍잘도 솔 원나 남카다 냠베 셈제 탐제 남젠 라나메바 양다바 조베 산지지 콤파르 보첼랑 거버 자 데이 치도 달람 담베 최 삼원 체발라 최 님베 군론다 군체 넘버다베 센차르 델라 강문 셈버자위 춘네 샹칩제 셈름보체 당 데이 냠네 파르드 짐바 두기 고르는 체베 값수 바바데 As per request of His Eminence Yongge Mingyur Rinpoche and Tergar community, I am delivering the teaching on 6 Paramita or Parudachimbatruk, which is translated as 6 perfection. I will use these words from time to time. Now, in the teaching of Lord Buddha, the second wheel of Dharma, that context involve all the sutras that very much elaborate on 6 paramita. Now, to understand the 6 and the bodhicitta, and to understand the bodhicitta, you have to understand Shunyata. So, bodhicitta is a Sanskrit word. Your intention and motivation and dedication to attain Buddhahood, to liberate all sentient being or help all sentient being to reach Buddhahood. Now this brings us to a very simple, important point. What is Buddhahood? So Buddha is a Sanskrit word, hood is an English word, so put together is Buddhahood. That's how everybody talk about this particular very important essence and essential teaching. So Buddha means every sentient being have a bodhi. That means the limitless potential of wisdom, potential of love, potential of compassion, potential to overcome every difficult inner and outer or mental or physical nature, as well as to be free of all limitation. That potential is ever present in everyone, from the highest of sentient beings, such as gods, then of course, or the semi-gods, and of course human beings and animals, and every sentient being have that potential. That is bodhi. So when that potential is fully awakened, fully mature, that is called Buddhahood. So the motivation to achieve that for oneself, and oneself because one wanted to and wholeheartedly motivated to assist every sentient being, every mother sentient being, to awaken that innate primordial nature of goodness, perfectness, and that is bodhicitta. Okay. Now, then why Shunyata is important here? Because Shun means, Shunyata means Tongpa Ni in Tibetan, and which is translated as emptiness. So I will use this word, but I personally am not very comfortable with the word emptiness, because empty have so many definition, and Shunyata and the Tongpa Ni is not just simply empty. So having said that, what does this really means is, in the sentient beings like ourselves, or all the other human beings around us, or animals that we can see, and then of course all the other beings that we don't see, but our capacity will not allow us to see, or we are not capable of seeing certain sentient being, doesn't mean they don't exist. But existence of other sentient beings are not that important right now for you and me, because you and me knows I exist, you exist, all human beings exist, all the varieties of animals exist. So that is good enough for us to work on. So all of us, all sentient beings, like to be happy, like to be free, don't like to be in pain, don't like to suffer. So that is a very basic. And in that everybody is equal. And intellectual capacity and intellectual definition of happiness and the suffering might differ from one another, but afraid to be hurt, afraid to suffer. And feel good about any kind of happiness and joy and pleasantness and blissfulness. So that is basic. So now that suffering, that joy, are they eternal? No, because every nice situation is also impermanent. Every undesirable situation is also impermanent. Therefore, everything is impermanent. We know that. Of course, we know that. We don't see any human being who is 500 years old. We can imagine there might be legends, but right now in front of us, I haven't met anyone. I don't think any of you met anyone, practically, technically speaking. So why? Because everyone died. Because life as a human being is impermanent. And then, so that way, the impermanent of life situations, impermanent of different experiences, when we were a toddler is different from happy when we were adolescents. And that is very different when we are, let's say, adults. And as we age, then what makes us happy is slightly different. And so that makes there's so many perceptions in this world, which develops into so many ideologies, religions, and individual ideologies, community ideologies, so many, and that give birth to so many cultures and so many ways of life, which are wonderful. They are all united in wish to be happy and don't want to, not wishing to suffer, united in this, but definition and means to achieve that is very much in diversity. So unity in diversity is there. So that is the definition of Shunyata. Because ultimately everything is interdependent, and so that interdependence is the manifestation of the ultimate, which is beyond dependency. Therefore, Shunyata, the emptiness, Tongbani, is this. Now, I will conclude these particular important points here. Now we can get into the subject. Okay. When you practice bodhicitta as a bodhisattva to attain Buddhahood, okay, then the ways to practice, ways to progress on this path, then there is so many methods were taught by Buddha, manifested from his enlightenment. And these are summarized into 6. So it is called 6 Paramita. And it is Mahayana teaching. Of course, in Theravada teaching also, these particular practices are relevant. In Vajrayana also, these particular practices are very relevant. But this is specific to the Mahayana teaching, specific to the Mahayana sutras. Now first, generosity. So why generosity? Because as a practitioner, you will progress, of course. And you also will have capacities, physical capacity, as well as material capacity, as well as knowledge and wisdom capacity of your level. Each one of us will have different capacity of that in different times of our life, different levels of our practice. So now, not to get attached to them. Now, attachment means clinging to them. And not only that, holding on to them. Then when we get attached to something which is nice, we say desirable means good, positive, undesirable means not good, negative. But when we go beyond basics, then we get obsessed about it, then we get neurotically attached. So that is not good. If we take a medicine for our good health properly, then very good. But if we become neurotic about it, then not good. Then at some time, we will not even listen to our doctor, and we will get so much obsessed about good result of our medicine at one time, then we take this medicine obsessively, then even doctors cannot help us, and that medicine will become poison. Because anything, if you overdose and overdo, it becomes a negative thing. So this way, the generosity, letting go, share with others, this is very important. So that is how the first paramita practice is generosity. So there's countless ways to be generous, but to summarize into 3, that will be material generosity, giving food, shelter, clothes, etc. to those who don't have food, shelter, and clothes. So it goes from just giving one little something to eat, to give a full meal, to give a real shelter, and help with material things in a big and efficient way, so many levels. So that is material generosity. Another generosity is protection. So there's some sentient beings are afraid in West not only in West, actually, nowadays throughout the world, there is animal shelters, for example. So in animal shelters, by definition, these animals are protected from whatever will cause them harm. So like that, helping them. And then from anything that might hurt them and harm them. So protection from fear. So it's not only animals, it's human beings, it is all sentient beings. So protection from fear. So it has so many levels, but that example is, I think, self-explanatory for the basics of it. Then the highest, most profound generosity is generosity of wisdom. Of course, which starts with knowledge and wisdom. But wisdom, because at the end of the day, or the first of all sentient being, you, me, everyone, have this deprivation or fear or suffering because we are ignorant about how to deal with our life or how to deal with surrounding of our life. But then here, one thing I have to explain to you, otherwise it doesn't make much sense. Sometimes it even sounds a bit arrogant. So those who are born into very difficult circumstances, it is not their ignorance in this life, but in the past, due to certain shortcoming, then the cause and conditions which will bring them into that kind of surrounding and that kind of circumstances. So this will be a little hard to relate to those who don't understand about the karma and the past life. So therefore, I just say this and then leave it there. Even one don't understand that part, it's okay. Because all of our suffering is never occurred because we wanting to suffer, isn't it? So therefore, cause and condition of suffering is coming from our surrounding, our source within, without us wanting to suffer intentionally. So that is ignorance or self clinging itself. So I leave it there. So now the highest of the generosity is making somebody who does not know, let them know. I give you a very simple example. Somebody who become so desperate with suffering and problem, so they become totally abusive to their own well-being, physical well-being, mental well-being. So you do everything, explain everything in a most skillful and mindful, compassionate, kind and caring and gentle way and healthy way so that they will understand. So that is the highest of generosity. Why I say highest? Because if I give food to somebody, wonderful, but then it will keep that person not hungry for 3, 4, 5 hours. After that, hungry again, isn't it? And if you give person food as well as knowledge and wisdom, how to make and how to search and how to generate means to have food, not immediately, maybe not possible, but in next season, in next year, in next month, then that is much better than just not making them self-sufficient, but just providing them what they need constantly, which is good, which is wonderful, which is very good. But at the same time, I think one have to at least attempt to make them capable to take care of themselves. I take care of you now, but tomorrow, or maybe week from now, or maybe month or year from now, you have to take care of yourself. So how to go about that? So I put effort for that will be very important. Okay, so I went a little bit more than fair share of time for the generosity, because this paramita is first. And once you understand this, then other paramitas, I think, understand it a little bit more easier. Of course, you have the capacity to understand. I don't mean to insult your intelligence, but somehow definition of teaching means you have to teach to others as they know little or they don't know at all, something like that. Otherwise, they dare not teach anything to anybody, isn't it? So now the second, okay, that is morals and ethics. So morals and ethics also, a very basic thing is, based on the basic of wishing to be happy, not wanting to suffer, based on that. So what makes you and others to suffer, that is what you shouldn't do. It is wrong. And what makes you and others happy, so doing whatever contribute to that is positive and right. So that is basic. But again, it is not 100% black and white like that, because something that makes somebody happy is not necessarily good for them. In my life, I have been doing my best to assist drug addicts and alcoholics and gamblers to overcome these addictions, because most of the time these addictions are harming them or their family or their community in one way or another. So that way, then I wanted to be happy, but I'm doing things that cause me to be unhappy. Even it looks like making me happy right now, but tomorrow I get sick, then I will end up in hospital and I might lose my life, you know, and cause so much suffering and pain to all of my community and all of my loved ones. Things like that. So that is the definition of morals and ethics, the basis of morals and ethics. Of course, when it develops into so many varieties, then it can become very dogmatic. But basic is like that. So, now I will summarize this. Not doing what you shouldn't be doing. Causing suffering to yourself, causing suffering to others. Doing what you're supposed to be doing. The things that are virtuous by definition, which are cause and conditions of your joy and happiness and others' joy and happiness and contentment. And then finally, everything that you manage to do to overcome your cause and the conditions of suffering and able to master your cause and conditions of happiness, then overcoming the cause and conditions of suffering, mastering the cause and conditions of happiness for yourself, that is shared and dedicated, and in motivation itself is meant for the benefit of all sentient beings. So that is morals and ethics. The next is translated as tolerance or patience. In Tibetan language, it is zapa. Now, this means when you become a more and more mature person, then you are not easily disturbed and shaken and overwhelmed by the outside situations and conditions and events. So you are able to maintain your sanity, your well-being, and you can continuously progress. So now in this, when some other person knowingly or unknowingly, intentionally or unintentionally, doing things towards you which are harmful to you. So you are able to see through that, and that person, if he or she is intentionally doing the harmful things to you, then it is out of ignorance, because it is negative more for them than to you. Because the intention, motivation, and action all involved in their part. And you are here as their target. But if you see through it, then you will be able to maintain your pureness and your let's say resolve, so that that other cannot harm you, as well as that other can learn from you, because out of 100 who try to harm you, 99% of them have some kind of misunderstanding, one way or another. So when you are sincerely sitting there and being witness to their shortcomings, misunderstandings, then they will have what we call blessing or effect, positive effect, so that they become a better person as well. And definitely you will not create more negativity by reacting to their negative actions against you. So that is first. And patience. Now the second thing is then any kind of comes to you which are not caused by somebody's ill will, then you know that this is due to so many other circumstances. So if you know karma, very good. If you don't know karma, then if you happen to be somewhere, and if there's a landslide and rocks falling on you, instead of you going hysterical about it and becoming neurotic about it, you do everything to avoid being squashed. And you are not being negative, saying that, why me? Of course, this shouldn't happen to anybody, but you happen to be in that place at that time where that event is taking place. So you have to do everything to overcome, and at the same time, any other person who are in the same situation with you, you also try to assist them as well. So that is how you overcome the negative situations. And of course, then if the worst things comes to worst, and you are in pain and you are disabled, like being sick in your, let's say, last bed in the hospital, and you are going to die for sure, then instead of making everybody upset, you just say to yourself very clearly, may I suffer on behalf of everyone. May I pray and dedicate that everyone learn from my pain here so that they can overcome the cause and condition of this kind of pain. I'm saying this, if your doctor tells you there's nothing can be done, we are just counting the minutes, then in that kind of situation, you can think like that. That is also the patience and tolerance of suffering here. Okay? And then the last of the three is the patience and let's say tolerance of understanding and comprehension. So everything is impermanent. So you can comprehend when something impermanent takes place. And from the first moment of something good, you also know, without becoming negative, we have to maintain our let's say, clarity. We should not be overwhelmed by excitement and euphorism, obsessed with my success, then success, of course, cannot remain the same. Everything will fluctuate. Everything is impermanent. So my pain when I lose that success is much more. At least to know that. So for my own sake, for everybody's sake, so always understand the emptiness, understand the impermanence, understand the karma, understanding all of this, then nothing can shake that understanding. Therefore, nothing causes you to lose your sanity. And nothing can cause you to lose your wisdom. So you become truly mature, not just look like a mature. Okay, so that is a particular aspect of tolerance or patience. Then next is diligence. Now diligence is okay. Once we involve in anything, we have to be able to continue to complete. So for this, we have to know what I already have achieved and what is born in me, and what is there yet to be born, yet to be matured. So this is very important. The saying of little knowledge is very dangerous, because when I know little bit, then I become proud of it, then I cannot go further. Then my downfall will start. Soon as I become proud of little things that I have achieved. But of course, human beings need self-confidence. That is very important. But that's very different from the negative aspect of pride, you know. So that is we call it diligence, continuation, because it is like you are well versed with what is there that you have achieved, what is there yet to be achieved. Okay? Then the second aspect of diligence is whatever you have achieved, you cannot lax your mindfulness and awareness. You have to continue. You can never be too knowledgeable. You can never be too mature. Always there is room for more mature. And there's room to avoid actually mistakes, even you are mature. So that is a continuation of acquiring and developing further the let's say diligence. And then of course final of the diligence is all all of that you have acquired and you have developed and you have matured is for all sentient beings. That way it have a purpose. So purpose of wealth, purpose of ethics, purpose of patience, purpose of being diligent. So that is for is meditation or contemplation. Now, here, actually, to focus. Whatever we are practicing, learning, cultivating, then we become accustomed to it. So accustomed enough so that we can see everything about that particular practice clearly all the time. So that is a basic meditation or contemplation. Now I give you one example. You are able to sit. Okay, very good. And you are able to maintain, not only physically sit, but you are able to maintain the stability of your mind. Okay, very good. But then, when you are not able to achieve the true meditation, then you can just sit there and no clarity. It becomes like just sit, and it become it's not a wasting of time, of course. Able to calm down and sit down is very good, but have the awareness of that state of mind. It is like a sun shining in the blue sky onto the green earth, and it makes everything grow. It makes everything function. In the ocean, it creates the fog that creates the rain. All these things happen spontaneously. So, like this, when your mind, which is so precious, right now, which is very much limited within our body and our perception. So when we are able to calm down our body, calm down our thought and perceptions, then that great primordial wisdom able to be clear by itself, of itself. So that is the first. So when we, as a beginning practitioner, able to do this, then all kind of knowledge, all kind of, let's say, senses will naturally evolve. So people say, so and so is clairvoyant, so and so know the future, so and so read the mind of other people, so and so have a miraculous power. All of these things. Actually, if you and I, with motivation try to have a miracle, try to read other people's mind, then that is totally different from what is mentioned here. Here, because if the sky is clear, sun is shining, everything will happen totally stable, then inner potential will manifest. So all kind of positive outcome and let's say evolution, evolvement will happen. It will evolve by itself. So that is a second aspect of meditation. Then final is, of course, the primordial wisdom itself will manifest, and it will be spontaneously beneficial for all sentient beings. Why? Because all sentient beings, primordial potential and essence, innate nature is same as yours. So when you have realized and matured that, it will have natural, spontaneous effect on others. I give you a very, very, very simple example. When we think of some great being, a great event, or a visit in pilgrimage to a great place, like place of the enlightenment of Buddha, or whatever you believe, the great place of that, then you feel touched and moved. And when somebody, even doesn't have to be a human being, even an animal, does something wonderful, spontaneously, it moves you, it touches you, because innate nature of you and all of them are the same. So now I just divert a little bit from here. The negative things also work like that. When somebody generates so much negativity, even you are quite a sincere person who did your best to evolve, temporarily it can influence you and you also become almost negative. So that is not involved with the meditation here, but that can happen. So here, the positive aspect, the genuine primordial aspect. Okay? Now the last one, the wisdom. So wisdom paramita. Okay. Now, first of all, you will see the ultimate essence of everyone and everything, relatively. Then the second is you will see the ultimate essence of everyone and everything more ultimately. Then the final is you become ultimate essence of everything and everyone, which is Shunyata, emptiness, ultimate bodhicitta, ultimate compassion, ultimate love, ultimate wisdom, you become. First you understand, then you somehow feel and see this, and then you become. And that is the final of the paramita. And paramita actually means complete. So the word perfection, translation of perfection, is quite accurate here. But the definition of perfection is quite clear from this order. First is the generosity. But without morality, the second, generosity can also become obsession, can become neurotic. So with morals and ethics, I cannot steal from somebody and give it to somebody, because that one from whom I have stolen will be suffering. To whom I give might be happy, but they also will not be 100% happy, because the karma of me stealing from somebody, I have injected that into the person to whom I have given. So they get connected to stealing. This is one very simple example. There's so many ways, and these subjects are very, very deep. But I just throw that in there so you see why generosity first and why morality second. Then after that, then tolerance, patience. Then after that, then perseverance, diligence, perseverance. It's not 1 year paramita. It is not 1 lifetime paramita. It is until Buddhahood paramita. If you are practitioner of Vajrayana Buddhism or Mahayana Buddhism. But if you are not, fine. It's not quite paramita, but you are practicing generosity, morality, then patience, then diligence, meditation, and wisdom. It doesn't have to be for Buddhahood. Then that is just generosity, etc. It will not be paramita. Paramita means the complete. Completeness is definition is reach the first Bodhisattvahood, and then Bodhisattvahood will lead to Buddhahood. So this order is extremely self-explanatory. Why not wisdom first? So this way it is very, very important. And now one last thing. This order is important as it is, but then you will find in many teachings a slightly different order and different details. For example, in the teaching of let's say gradual path to enlightenment, Lamji Rinpa, and also one particular very beautiful teaching of first emperor of Tibet, Songtsen Gampo. So his teaching known as the Mani Kambum. And in that Kambum, the 6 paramita is explained in a very beautiful way, but not in this order. slightly, let's say, a unique order. Of course, he didn't make it up. He referred to the great teachings of Buddha in various sutras, etc., etc. So that is there, always not in this order. But whenever you learn about the 6 paramita, all the texts that you will come across, of course, you will come across this order, yes. But it doesn't mean any other order is wrong. But this order's reason and the definition and the details are relevant in this way. So let's say I give you example of the Manikambum paramita, 6 paramita. So let's say first, let's say, now there's no time for going through all of it, so I will go to the wisdom paramita in the Manikambum of Emperor Songtsen Gampo. Okay, so wisdom. First, knowing everything is according to your mind's projection. So somebody's fantastic is somebody's nothing. And somebody's nothing is at the same time someone else's obsession. So that way, knowing everything is as the perceiver's mind perceives. So that's one. So knowing that is the first wisdom. Then knowing the mind beside the body does not have any physical entity. Body have physical entity, but mind does not have physical entity. So therefore, knowing mind as not having physical entity, mind is empty of physical entity. Then the third, according to the Emperor Songtsen Gampo, is emptiness is the great mother, Yumchemo. So, great mother, Prajana Paramita. So, this emptiness, embodiment of this emptiness is not just nothing, but embodiment of this emptiness is the mother of all the Buddha. The mother of all the Buddha is the title of the entire teachings of second wheel of Buddha. Yumchemo Sherabje Parurdu Chinma. So great mother, the Prajana Paramita. So that is how the Emperor Songtsen Gampo describes and elaborates in Manikambum about the Prajana Paramita, the 6th paramita out of 6 paramita. So he describes each one of them. But today the time does not allow us to elaborate on this. Anyway, I just shared this with you so that you can see the depth of paramita. It's not just one way. There's so many ways. And then one last thing I want to mention. It doesn't have to be 6 paramita. It can be countless paramita, or just one paramita, or paramita itself without number. Yes. Why I say this is very simple. What does generosity paramita means? Does it mean we give everything away so that nothing left to give? Is that generosity paramita? No. When we become the generosity paramita itself, so to whom you give and what you give, and you, the giver, all let's say non-dualistic, all beyond duality. Oneness we can say, but oneness is opposite of two-ness. So beyond duality, beyond oneness, that is generosity paramita. So then you are intellectual people, so you can say very easily back to me. So in that case, what's the difference between generosity paramita and morality paramita all the way to wisdom paramita? What's the difference? You're correct. There's no such thing. You attain and achieve the generosity paramita, but you did not attain and achieve the paramita of all other 5. There's no such thing. One paramita is all paramita. And generosity itself, I just mentioned a little earlier. I just mentioned generosity, the morality of generosity paramita, the patience of generosity paramita, the diligence of generosity paramita, the and when you attain the realization of any of it, you attain the realization of all of it. When you understand one of it thoroughly, then you understand all of it thoroughly. So that way, why the 6 paramita is taught in one session is because of that. Otherwise, there's no point talking about wisdom paramita when we just beginning with the generosity paramita. So all of that is absolutely interconnected. So therefore, I shared learn for your everyday life, all of you to be happier person, more compassionate person, kinder person to others as well as to yourself. And finally, of course, to become perfect and reach Buddhahood. You are perfect, ultimately. You are perfect, I am perfect, everyone perfect. Relatively speaking, all the 7+ billion human beings on this earth are absolutely perfect, relatively. Yes, but in reality, I have so many imperfections. I don't want it to sound negative, but I think you all might have some imperfection in you. If there isn't, then you will not be learning anything. You're already enlightened. And enlightened doesn't mean enlightened once, enlightened forever. So that way, I sincerely believe this is beneficial. All the best for all of you. And I pray that temporarily, world has gone through so much, and I think we are overcoming this as a humanity all together with everyone's effort. But still, there's so many things we can and might anticipate, and may all of them be positive, and all the negativity we can overcome. Okay. All the best for all of you. From my side, Buddha bless you. And whatever you believe, that bless you. And if you are a non-believer, there are so many of my friends who call themselves they are non-believer. I respect them, but they believe in truth, I'm sure. So truth bless you. Okay. Let us make a short dedication prayer. Dedicate what we have learned here for the benefit of all sentient beings. Sanam di tamji zikpa ni tabne nyebe ranam pamche ne jegananji balap trupa yi sibin solen roa roar sho jambal pawe chitar chemba tang kundu zambo teyang tejin te teda kunji jesu dalabji gewan da tamja rabdo ngo sanje kusum nyebe chinlabdang Chuni Mingyur Dembe Chinlabda, Genduni Michen Dumbe Chinlabji, Chitab Hoa Manam, Druparishu, Chanchu, Semcho Rinpoche, Maje Panam Jejurji, Jepa Nyamba Mebario, Kone, Kondum Pewar Shu, Jina, Dewa Tsosu, Ho, Pende Namka Chabarishu, Duna, Dunghar Dagi, Kur, Kowa, Dunghar Je Jamso, Dongbarishu.
By this merit, may all attain omniscience and defeat the enemy wrongdoing. From the stormy waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death, from the ocean of existence, may all beings be free.
Long night prayer for Guru Vajradhara Tai Situ Rinpoche. Min jala sava dendang trove maho sanje jala sa mabam taye se do bema taye ji shabe Chanting.
Regent of Padma, protector of the teachings and beings, future Buddha Maitreya, invincible regent, Tai Situ Donyo, may you live long and perform your enlightened acts on a vast scale.
Hello again, everyone, and thank you for joining us for that wonderful teaching on the 6 paramitas. And I'm sure that I speak for everyone in sending our gratitude to Guru Vajradhara Tai Situ Rinpoche for offering that teaching to us. And we would also like to thank Mingyur Rinpoche for joining us today and helping to introduce the teaching and prayers. And also a thank you to Cortland Dahl for his special introduction. There are also many volunteers and staff to thank for helping to make all of this happen behind the scenes. And a special thank you today to all of the translators who have helped make this accessible. And finally, thank you to all of you who have joined us today. It's always wonderful to see so many people coming together from all around the world for these teachings. And we have this quick slide that is a special thank you to our sponsors. This program is made possible by the generosity of people like you. And if any of you would like to support the Tergar mission, please visit tergar.org/donate to show your support and help make programs like this more possible in the future. And before we say goodbye, we have a quick reminder that today's event is part of the Way of the Bodhisattva immersion course, which you can find on Tergar's Vajrayana online at tergar.org/Vajrayana. And you can see that in the chat if you're looking for that link. This is where you will find the English recording of today's event. And just a quick note for those listening to interpretation today, we currently are only able to offer this course in English right now. And on the next slide, you will see that the course includes pre-recorded talks with Mingyur Rinpoche, live teachings with Mingyur Rinpoche, Senior Tergar Lama Khenpo Kunga and Tergar guides, as well as interviews with leading Buddhist voices and guided meditations. And there are also curated resources that can help unpack that root text of the Way of the Bodhisattva. And all of this is available as part of your Vajrayana Online subscription at tergar.org/Vajrayana. So we hope that you can join us there if you have not already. And that is all we have for today. So thank you once again for joining us, and we hope that you have a great rest of your day, evening, or night, wherever you are in the world. Thank you.